Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery here. It is a beautiful Tuesday morning, January 28th, 2025. We get together most weekday mornings at 8 o'clock Central with our reseller partners to talk about strategies, tips, techniques, share success stories, and support each of you. We have two different types of distribution partners. We have our resellers, which is what this audience is, and then we have our Shelf Corp stores. Those are the physical offices that we're opening around the country, and those are led by local entrepreneurs who manage and own and manage those stores. And we have a different training for our Shelf Corp store owners. So, with that being said, we're going to go through an agenda. We're going to have a broader conversation, but what it's labeled here is encouraging you to consider starting a business, coaching business. But we'll get back to that. We'll answer questions throughout. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, type those into the Q&A. It's like a chat box. And then ultimately, what do we want to do? We want to take this knowledge and go help people. You and I have a unique opportunity to help entrepreneurs have a fundable business. Many small business owners, they want money to start, to grow, to reach their potential. Many of them need money, but most of them do not have a fundable business, and so they don't qualify. So what you and I do through the Shelf Corps is provide them a fundable business, and because of the grant, it's actually free, but we talked about that yesterday. And the bottom line is we can help anyone have a fundable business so they can have access to capital. Today, I want to approach it a little bit differently. And so let me add a space, and I'm going to ask, who are you? Now, what I mean by that is you're a reseller with us, but that gives you complete carte blanche. You can go out to the marketplace as you want. And I see some of you doing some really innovative things. Would I recommend that you go out to the marketplace and say, I'm a reseller? No, that doesn't have sizzle, that doesn't have attractiveness. So instead, you might want to consider how you position yourself. Now, if you already have a business, already have an entity, then it's easy, right? But if you're not in that position, one option that you might want to consider is going to the marketplace as a nonprofit. So there are different types of nonprofits, but typically we'll talk about 501c3 nonprofits. And so we can help you set that up if you want. When clients go through the Shelf Corp process, we can set it up as a for-profit or nonprofit. If you don't have a nonprofit, I encourage you to consider doing so. There are several reasons why going to the marketplace, and again, we're answering the question, well, who are you? But being a nonprofit works well for several reasons. And I guess we'll go ahead and list those so we have those. What's one of the benefits of being a nonprofit? It is tax exempt. Your business does not pay taxes, your organization, I should say. If you run a proper and successful reseller shop, you should be generating at least 100,000 a month, 1.2 million a year. And if you can legally and ethically avoid taxes off that, that saves you a lot of money, over $250,000 a year. So one of the most powerful reasons to form a nonprofit is that you are legally exempt from taxes. But there are other business reasons as well. It tends to be better received. So when you're out communicating with prospects or key influencers, if you're going to teach our money skills workshops and go teach and build financial literacy, in most cases, if you're representing yourself as a nonprofit, a true 501c3, it tends to be better received. People think that you're not just money grabbing, that you're there mission first. There's some crazy other benefits that you might not have considered if you run a nonprofit. For instance, then your purchases. Well, so let's go back to A. Here, what I meant is your income is tax exempt, but also your purchases can be tax exempt. I know that when I go into Sam's or Costco, we have memberships with both. With our nonprofit, 509 Pacific, we're able to buy things and not pay sales tax on it legally and ethically. So it's important that you consider as a reseller, how are you presenting yourself? Who are you? And one option would be to go out to the marketplace as a nonprofit. We've talked about income tax benefits, public perception benefits, and a reduction in expenses. But there's another very significant benefit, and it ties to yesterday's topic. A number of you followed up with us after you saw Audrey's model, which was our topic on yesterday's Zoom. And Audrey is not going out trying to sell Shelf Corp. She's out offering people to apply for a grant to get a free Shelf Corp, and she markets herself as a grant coordinator. Well, I think in any organization, you might want to consider building a business development team, whether you're a for-profit or nonprofit. I would encourage you to start thinking about building a team of grant coordinators. So in other words, you have Audreys, if that doesn't make sense, go back and see yesterday's training, but you'll have a team of Audreys who are out helping small business owners. We rolled out that override commission structure, which we can go through briefly, and there's incredible economic benefits to you. So let's go back and talk a little bit about how that works, the dollars and cents, make sure everyone's clear. So we rolled out earlier this month an option to earn overrides. We're not MLM, we're not network marketing, not saying anything bad about those industries, but that's not who we are. We're just simply, there's an override. So you can get paid for helping a client get a Shelf Corp, but you can also get an override by someone that's on your team or someone that you recruited, someone in your downline, whatever terminology you feel comfortable using. That's a huge deal. So let's talk about that a little bit more. So as a nonprofit, it's fine to draw a salary. If you look at the salaries of a number of nonprofits, there are people that earn 6 figures or even 7 figures a year as a salary of a bona fide nonprofit. So first of all, we would encourage you consider forming a nonprofit, which we can help you do. And then secondly, we can position you, which you are invariably, as the CEO of your business. You manage, you run your nonprofit. So with that, then we could build a team of grant coordinators. And so again, yesterday's training, we dug pretty deep into what we call Audrey's model. But just imagine for a moment, if you had a team of Audreys that were out creating financial literacy, enrolling clients into the Shelf Corps, they're getting paid and you're getting paid. It's huge. So the way that we do that is we need to have you set up on the reseller marketing program, which we also had a recent training. That provides the infrastructure for us to track the commissions. That would provide you, and then each of your sales team would also want to have the reseller marketing program. By doing so, you and they, which each have a landing page. We showed you the landing page yesterday in a number of days. The normal template has my car on it, but we can change it and put your car on it if you want. But it's a place to drive your prospects to collect 4 basic pieces of information: first name, last name, phone number, and email. And then it puts them into a drip campaign, what we call automation. That is incredibly important because no matter how good of a communicator you or your grant coordinators are, some people are going to need multiple touches. The general rule of marketing is it takes 5 to 7 touches before someone will make a purchase decision. With what you and I are offering, especially with 0 upfront, 0 out-of-pocket cost, it should be a little easier. But the bottom line is having a landing page with automation is highly recommended, and we provide that for free through the reseller marketing program. We also need to be set up with a professional looking contract that allows your clients to e-signature to sign up very easily. And so we build that in. When we build your landing page, it'll have the automation. It'll send them the contract, I guess I should say here, contract automatically to prompt them to sign. And then of course you need leads, but that's not the point here. Uh-oh. Sorry about that. So let's get to the comp model, why this makes sense, why you might want to consider forming a nonprofit, which we can help you do, and from that building a team of Audreys, people like Audrey, like we covered yesterday, what we'll call grant coordinators. Well, how much, if you were out looking for sales reps, you need to have a good proposition because sales reps typically are out selling something else now. So what you would want to do is offer them a better package. Why would they want to leave selling Verizon cell phones or selling BMWs at the car dealership or selling insurance for Aflac? Why would they want to stop doing that and come to work for you as one of your grant coordinators? Well, the comp program is crazy good. They should make more doing this than they would make selling vitamins or cars or insurance. So your sales reps, which we'll call grant coordinators, they make 5,000 up front, plus they make 5 points off the client's capital raise. You might say, well, that sounds great for them, but what's in it for you? Well, for you as the CEO of your nonprofit, you're making the same. Our comp model replicates the funding, the payout for your reps as well as for you. So you're also making 5,000 up front and 5 points. So let's break that down. So here at the top of the organizational chart, we have you, and you're the CEO. And so then underneath you, we want to have, under this concept, reps, but we're going to call them grant coordinator 1, grant coordinator 2. Now, when I talk to some of you on the phone more informally about this, you're like, well, I don't know how to go come up with sales reps. Well, it's time to figure that out, right? If you're going to run a successful business, you need to have a business development team. And I would recommend targeting people that are already in the sales profession. So again, you're the people that are selling at kiosk in the mall, people that are selling insurance, people that are selling cell phones. Anyone that's doing sales probably has an inkling to make pitches, be willing to accept no, and close a deal. You don't want to take the school teacher or the librarian who's probably not wired like that. Not to mean you discriminate against anyone. So we start building this team of grant coordinators on your team. When you're approaching them and showing them what they can make, so let's again use the Audrey model. So Audrey, which we discussed yesterday, she has a goal of just enrolling one client a week. Enrolls one client per week. That's all she wants to do is one a week. All right, with one a week, she's making 5,000 up front, and then she's making 5% of the client's capital raise. Now, Audrey, as we discussed yesterday, she only wants to work with clients that want $1 million or more dollars. So that is going to generate at least 50,000 to her. So up front, now Audrey's making 5,000 a deal, 5,000 a week. Plus, once the client funds, she's making an extra 50,000. That's not in week 1. That's going to be in a subsequent week. So you can see it's not get rich quick, but I don't think you're going to have trouble finding sales reps when you can start offering them 5,000 a week, because we're assuming if we're replicating the Audrey model, one per week, nothing crazy. So that means for each grant coordinator you have, they're making 5,000 a week, but also you are, right? So there's a formula there. I can show you the resources, but that's not the point. But so there's an income formula. So if you wanted to get out of the sales and business development business altogether, which you wouldn't have to, you would be looking at 5,000 per week per grant coordinator, and this is your income. So you just set a goal, right? Well, I want to make 10,000 a week. Well, then you're going to need 2 grant coordinators doing this. Oh no, I want to make 20,000 a week. So one concept that we wanted to share with you today is the concept of possibly going out to the marketplace as a nonprofit. I'm going to show you another option, which is around the coaching side. But what questions, comments, concerns do any of you have off of defining who you are as a reseller, as a nonprofit? We can help you get that set up. And then you're the CEO of the nonprofit. We build a team of grant coordinators. The grant coordinators are going out, creating public awareness, enrolling clients. The grant coordinators are making 5,000 a week up front, plus they're getting the 50,000 per client on the capital raise, and you're making the same. You're making the same. Any questions on that? Okay. So then let's back off of that and let's go to the other topic, which was running a business coaching business. So we added the business coaching as an element to our nonprofit. So these two could kind of work together as well, couldn't they? So 509 Pacific is a 501c3 nonprofit. It's legitimate. It's real. We added a business coaching element. You may want to consider, with or without your nonprofit, adding a business coaching element. So the benefit there is you're attracting clients who are looking for money to start or grow a business, and you can offer a free consultation as the call to action. You see that here at the bottom. So if you wanted, whether you're a nonprofit or not, we could set you up where you're doing business coaching. And with business coaching, we can attract clients that have a problem that you and I can help them solve. We provide them a free consultation. So now it's not like a cold call. It's not like chasing down someone. Prospects are coming to you. They're requesting a free consultation. And guess what? What are you going to do? You're going to assess, well, how much money are you looking for? Do you have a fundable business now? Most of the time, they don't understand that. And then you can offer them a shelf corporation to provide that turnkey, instant, fundable shelf entity. But the most important thing from today's session is not about you starting a 501c3 or you starting a business coaching business. It's you need to define what you're presenting yourself as in the marketplace. Could you just be an individual, what we call just a sole proprietor? You could. But what we see is people like Audrey that have a professional email. Her title is grant coordinator, and people just like it. People like it. So I would encourage you. Well, I mean, frankly, you could enroll if you wanted in the Shelf Corp. You don't have to. That's not my goal today. But we need to get you set up where you look presentable, you look professional. And I think that's going to make a big difference. And so then, making sure that you have a consistent image. Do you have a business card that has your information? Do you have a company car? So you're driving a car and you could wrap it or not wrap it. That just it has a consistent image. All right, so let's get into some of the questions that you have. All right, so Celino's asking about pricing, and that's great. So if you're going to follow the Audrey model, and we covered it some yesterday, but we'll go ahead and add some notes here. Let me stretch this out. And so let's talk about recommended pricing model. So you pick the price of the fundable shelf court. We know that we need 10,000 to cover our cost. And frankly, if you're making 5,000 and your sales rep's making 5,000, then you would sell $20,000 is the cost for a fundable shelf court. Now you might say, well, that seems high. You could make it less if you wanted, but this is built around the concept of getting you 5,000 and then getting each of your grant coordinators, each of your sales reps 5,000. So if we have 10,000, 5,000, 5,000 as our cost structure, then of course the price needs to be 20,000. But remember, there's zero out-of-pocket cost to the client. The client's not putting a penny out of pocket, not a penny, because they're signing up with you or through your grant coordinator. We should have an e-signature contract and all of that set up as we were talking about up here. But regardless, client signs up, they pay nothing up front, and then we get them financing for the purchase price of the shelf court. Now you can disagree, I don't think you will, but the reality, I think this is a fact. The reality in our society is people are typically most concerned with not the total cost, but how much does it cost out of pocket. So when you can say, assure them, hey, there's no out of pocket cost, we can get you financing for a fundable shelf court, and in fact, we can reimburse that through a grant after you get funding. We'll work with you to get $1 million minimum to start or grow a business. I think it's going to sell very well. So the answer to Celino's question is, if you're going to use the Audrey pricing model, the client price would be 20,000. Remember, there's a term that you probably learned in economics that's called price elasticity. And so you can't just keep charging more and more and not expect sales to go down. Like there's a lot of talk right now in the media about the cost of inflation and specifically the cost of eggs. So eggs cost a lot more now than they did a couple years ago. So what happens is as the cost of eggs continues to go up, less people buy them. So it exceeds the price elasticity of the egg buyer because the perceived value is not worth it anymore. So I do agree. I mean, we don't want to go charge $5 million for a shelf court. That's excessive. But with the value proposition, I don't think 20,000 is excessive. And one of the reasons, and we can go ahead and put some details. So what are they getting? They're getting a turnkey business ready for funding in a week. And that's valuable in itself. But here's the real kicker. It includes 100,000 transfer in 24 hours. So that's, of course, in the form of accounts receivable to serve as collateral, and then we can turn around and liquidate that. So if someone's paying 20,000, but with zero out of pocket, they're getting way more than 100,000 in value. And with the grant, which we talked about yesterday, which you can go see the prior trainings here. So then they're getting a reimbursement of the cost of the shelf corp. So in the end, they're paying zero. Whether in the front, they're paying zero out of pocket. In the end, they're paying zero for the shelf corp because the grant reimburses, and they're getting over $100,000 of value plus a business that's ready to go to funding, and we're going to work with them to get at least $1 million. And so I guess we could add that. So I don't think you're going to have trouble if you have a business development mindset. I talked to some of you, some of you are great, but you're just not oriented to closing deals. It's just not your thing, and that's okay. What our point is, you don't need to be a salesperson. That was even right here. Don't be a salesperson if you're not good at sales. It's okay. If you are good at sales, do sales and build a team. If you're shitty at sales, don't do sales and let's build a team. We should build a team in either case, because what it's doing, it's creating passive income. Every time one of your grant coordinators goes out and closes a deal, they're getting paid and you're getting paid the same. And then after the client gets funded, the grant coordinator gets paid again and you get paid again. So hopefully that answered your question, Selena. Good question. All right, Rod has the next question. And just to make sure you all see the resources, QuickCash is not really what we're talking about today, but that's at the top of 509 Pacific. If you're not a reseller but want to become one, just email us. If you need to speak to someone, call Madison, and her phone number is on the website there as well. And then anytime you want to go see past trainings. But let's get to Rod's question. So Rod's asking about the cost of setting up a nonprofit. So we provide that free. So when a client is coming through and getting a shelf corp, which you can be a client as well, we can set up a for-profit or a nonprofit entity, either way. So anyone that's wanting a nonprofit, the answer is zero out of pocket, Rod, and just enroll in the Fundable Shelf Corp program. And if you don't know how to do that, I can get you with about 425 other resellers that are on the Zoom this morning that are happy to sell you a Shelf Corp if you don't know how to do it, but I'm sure you do. Because all of you that are signed up as a reseller, once you signed up as a reseller, we sent you the resell, and there's no cost. It doesn't cost you anything to be a reseller. No contract to sign, no performance requirements. So we sent you the reseller implementation packet that had the editable client agreement. And with the editable client agreement, you took our information off, you put yours on, you changed pricing, you're open for business. So that's real easy, Rod. So who else has questions? And I'll summarize. If you have any questions, you can type it in. So a couple of things that's important. The main point that I'm bringing to you today is think about how you're being perceived by your prospects. How are you branding yourself? Because as a reseller, you're not a rep of ours. You're not an affiliate. You're not an agent. You're not an employee. You're a reseller. So that gives you complete autonomy of going out under your own branding. That's why we're focused on the reseller model. I think many of you would do really well if you don't already have a business that you want to brand under, is to form a nonprofit, because now your income's tax exempt, your expenses are tax exempt, it's better received in the marketplace, and it becomes really easy. It seems logical that if you're running a nonprofit, then you're out building a team of grant coordinators. Your grant coordinators make crazy good money. And I know to a lot of you, you take people like Ernestina and Ernest and Franz. For a lot of you, 5,000 a week doesn't even cover your car payment, right? But for the average person to earn 5,000 a week, which is what, 20,000 a month, about $250,000 a year, that's a good income. But that's just the front end income. Then when we're looking at 5% of the capital raise, equaling what should be 50,000 per client, assuming they're doing $1 million, you add that to it, and now you're making all these grant coordinators a 7-figure earner per year. So do you think that rep selling T-Mobile phones is making $1 million a year, or even has a possibility of that? Do you think that insurance agent selling Aflac is consistently making 5,000 or more a week? Those people are not making the type of money that you and I make. So all I'm saying is replicate it, duplicate it for your own benefit. All right, and so David's bringing up a good point. So the QuickCash, which isn't really the conversation today, the QuickCash is 1/10 of what we provide here. So in both cases, what are we doing? We're transferring accounts receivables to the client. It's legally theirs. We can put it on their balance sheet, so now they have collateral, and then we can help them liquidate that and turn that into cash. And so that is very, very valuable. And you're right, because I think some people, not you, David, but some people, they don't differentiate between these two. So let's even put numbers. This is 1, and separately, this is 2. So 2 benefits from the Shelf Corp. So by having a fundable business, we can transfer the collateral and liquidate it. So that puts 100,000 in their pocket potentially. And then we go after the loan, the capital raise, which is in addition. That's why it's number two, number one and number two. So these are two benefits that each client gets, not just one. They don't have to choose one or the other. So it's crazy good. We had a training on the liquidation. So any of you that want a deep dive into the liquidation process, that's understandable. Go to our YouTube channel, and we had a full 35-minute discussion on liquidation, the process, the steps, the timeline. Sometimes you all will ask me questions that deserves a more thorough answer. So if you want to learn more about QuickCash, you want to learn more about the shelf corps, more about liquidation, go ahead and go back and watch the past trainings, because there's a deeper discussion that you'll want to be part of. So wrapping it up today, our goal would encourage you to, and I guess I'll even change it. I would encourage you to properly and effectively brand yourself. And I'll put that in quotes. So how do people see you when you're going out to the marketplace? Are you using some sort of shit Gmail or Yahoo or Hotmail email? Don't do that. That doesn't make you look professional. Do you think that people are going to believe that you're going to be able to generate a $10 million or $1 million capital raise when you're working off of a consumer email? No, that's horrible, right? So you want to brand yourself. I would recommend branding yourself as a nonprofit. Now, you can own a for-profit business and also operate a nonprofit. So I don't want you to think it's all or nothing, but I would recommend considering having both, a for-profit and a nonprofit. The nonprofit's going to allow you to accrue income tax exempt. It's going to allow you to purchase things tax exempt. It's better received in the marketplace, and it's most conducive to building a team of grant coordinators. If you want us to help you build a nonprofit, and so can nonprofits borrow money? Of course. Can we do the same thing with a shelf corp on a nonprofit basis? Absolutely. So if you need help with that, just give Madison a call. But my goal today was just to get you to be more conscientious about how people are perceiving you. How are you branding yourself? What is your entity name? I would recommend having a professional email, which we can provide. I would recommend calling yourself a grant coordinator or something like that, that denotes that common theme of how we're out helping people with financial literacy and access to capital. So with that, again, if you need any help, give Madison a call, 903-352-3390, and we'll see you back tomorrow morning, same time, same place. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.